back with another episode of Morning Mint. We have an interesting show for you today. Running a little bit behind schedule. It's been the theme of the week, but we are still going to go over everything that we see happening in the market and add in some alpha. As usual, we're going to talk about Blast, and we're going to definitely talk about the NFT market and seeing some activity there. That's very interesting, and how you should be positioning yourself as we see this news cycle's narratives emerge. We're also seeing some very interesting trends and volume within the crypto market after NVIDIA earnings. We'll go over all of that just shortly. And we've got a little bit of a shakeup within the CEO world, within Web3. We're going to talk all about that and what it means. Damn, we got a great show ahead. Thanks everybody for joining in. Glad to see that we have people on X and on YouTube listening live. Remember, you can drop a chat. I can see them, and I will call out and talk about what I see in the chat. GM2 Twixie, 3 days in a row. Really appreciate you joining in live. And Jay Glaze, gotta love Jay Glaze. Thank you for joining in. He's watched every single morning for the last 3 weeks. And as you guys know, this is the second week that we've been out public. We had 1 week of private testing. Things are improving. It's good to be back. Let's hop into the show. Good things happening all around. NVIDIA did not rug us yesterday. I think that's the most important thing. And I got the YUGA hoodie on. Some people are giving me some crap about the hats and hoodies I was choosing. Had to show some love to YUGA. YUGA's in the news. We'll talk about them shortly here. But just a quick look at the market, pulling up coinmarketcap.com. I like using this tool purely because of just being able to scroll through and see just a longer term view of everything for the last 7 days. Gives you an idea of full trends. Obviously, TradingView is where I do all of my technical analysis, but this is an easy way to just scroll through things. Over the last hour and 24 hours, we're seeing the majors pretty steady and stable. Bitcoin and Ethereum recovering from yesterday's early pullbacks of NVIDIA fear of their earnings. NVIDIA obviously beating those earnings, reporting some staggering numbers. That was the most important thing. And the reason for that, again, is because of how much impact they do have on the U.S. economy and how much of the S&P 500 they are weighted on. Solana also pretty flat, 105.2. Was able to get in some buys around the 103 mark. A little bit of leverage trade there. Some people thought I was insane, but I was in a good mood yesterday because of Portal, so I decided to mess around. The rest of the market still choppy. We have seen some people calling out for shorts here, and we're in that moment where I think there's going to be buying opportunities. There will be some pullbacks across the board. TradingView, and as I say that, TradingView showing that in the moment on the 5-minute mark, we are seeing some red in the market. Locally, it does look like we've hit some upward resistance and we are pulling back. I am expecting to see Solana, Bitcoin, Ethereum hitting back to those support levels that they were at yesterday. A lot of, like I said, the narrative I've seen in the last hour since I've been looking at the market has been a lot of shorts and a lot of people calling for lower. Blur also right at support levels here, could be sending back to the mid 60s or lower. I think a lot of this is fueled by profit taking. NVIDIA was priced in to some extent, just like we kind of felt with what we saw with the Bitcoin ETF. And so some people are going to take profits, and there's probably also some fear within the risk market right now. Just scrolling through, seeing what else we had on our list. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. The one part of the market I have to highlight is that we are seeing a lot of strength still within the AI sector of crypto. I think that's probably a whole Morning Mint / video on its own that we should talk about. Where I'm looking, I think I feel comfortable talking about that with authority. with a little bit of research, just because of my background as an AI engineer and running an AI division at a company. So I'll do that. I think that's something to note down. We do have a blast video. I talked about this yesterday, dropping in like 2 hours. I talk about my top 7. I whittled it down to 7. The 7 companies on blast that you should be looking at, you should be engaging with on testnet. I'll talk about one of them today because it probably makes sense to get in earlier than later. And I'll highlight that. But for the rest, just wait. It'll come out a little bit. The NFTs market. We have seen some interesting news breaking on the NFT side of things. Currently, Bored Ape Yacht Club leading the top of the market, 22.22 floor. That was fueled by news of Garga coming back as CEO, as well as some other news around what they were doing with their game. There was a lot of FUD originally. A lot of people got upset, but they are still holding this 20 ETH floor. We haven't seen them dip under 20. There are a lot of holders now who are looking for, stability within the company, more guidance, more communication, and the number one thing is OG vibes. You will see this. A lot of very smart people are agreeing with me on this, which is Yuga needs to get back to its original vibes. Yuga needs to stop with the corporate way they're going, which is hard to do. They raised 450 million, and they've probably brought in another 50 to 75 in other funding via whatever, other fundraising ways that don't have to be, I think, is publicly disclosed, or they can kind of do in a covered way, looking at the Moonbirds acquisition and how they probably acquired some cash. I want to highlight, though, that, and we'll look at some of the collections. I think Yuga, if you are bullish here, there is a prime opportunity. And I don't know if it's Bored Ape Yacht Club specifically that you should be buying, but I do think that Coda's, looking at their floor and their price movement over the last month, we saw them at 3.5. That's been a consolidation zone. We did see them with all that FUD break under that zone, back under 3, and they're currently sitting at a 2.61 bid. I think that there is substantial ways to approach this on a theory side of, hey, how much lower can these go? And then I think there's a lot of different theories that you can play on this against what is Yuga's core direction, what collections within that core direction that they're going are going to have to be implemented in a serious way. And obviously, I think other deeds is hard. I think it's really, really hard to make a bullish case for those where they rip and they have huge returns. Again, capital, allocation of capital, you should be basically treating every dollar as a multiple, and you should be expecting multiple returns on that money because there's so much opportunity out there right now. I think Codas do have and can fall into that if other side is their main focus and their only direction back to their superiority within the NFT market. And if that is the core direction they're going, and Codas do play a core part of that, then these will return multiples on where we buy them right now. But it's very hard to speculate because a lot of the announcements that they've given are sending mixed signals. And we'll talk about that in a second, but I do want to get through the rest of the NFT market. Obviously, like I said, there is a lot of buying happening. Creeps, obviously, with the portal news, holders expecting, let me hide this real quick. People are expecting this to get some portal airdrop or some sort of love from the portal guys. I want to also highlight Sappy Seals, same thing, ripping all the way up to 2. There's been a pullback. If you want to buy a Sappy Seal, this is probably a prime opportunity as it consolidates at 1.5. A lot of activity within the NFT market. I don't want to miss, and I did this yesterday. I'm sorry. I know this was highlighted in the chat. Twixie just mentioned this. I don't want to skip over Solana or Bitcoin today because there is a lot happening there. On the Solana market, pretty stable, a lot of pullbacks, nothing too crazy. We have seen some stuff launch. Notably, Crypto Undeads. I am worried about Crypto Undeads right now because they minted, they went up, they had all the attention, and then they got real quiet. And obviously, I know within the community, everybody's chatting and people are excited, but I think they got to get loud again. And this is an issue. A lot of projects get all this hype, they get all the money in, and then they get damn quiet. Crypto Undeads is too quiet in my opinion. As an holder, I would love to see them be dropping a little bit more on what is coming and why it's important. Maybe doing some community activations. I mean, the number one thing I see is like the Monad poker tournaments. It's always talked about, especially in the Discord. Everybody's talking about it. They're getting people in. You don't have to even be a whole, like, it's just activities. It gets other people talking about it. Other Discords that aren't even holders get talking about it. On Bitcoin side, though, this is the most important part of the market, in my opinion, outside of, you know, your core ETH NFTs. Node Monks, Bitcoin Puppets, RSIC, Quantum Cats, Rune, Wizards, all recovering significantly from their lows. Very significantly. I think currently this is what, 13,000? So this is like 4.1 ETH, I think. Bitcoin Puppets, about 1.1 ETH, 1.3 ETH. There's a lot happening here. We are seeing a lot more buying coming in, and I do think that the NFT market on Bitcoin becomes more vibrant, and we do see more money flow into this. All of these have pulled back. Like, no mugs. If we look at the activity that we saw here, oh my god, if I can pull this up, over the last 3 months. So we went wrong. Uh-oh, Magic Eden, you're failing live. This is not good. Well, I was going to say, if Magic Eden's code base worked, that this did have a pop-off, and it did drive quite high, and then it's obviously pulled back from those highs. And there is, again, consolidation periods. That's what we look for. We look for things pop off. They have the attention. They have the narrative. They might pull back a bit. Then we still see that volume continuously buying. There's a very clear floor to that. We look for dips down. So like this clearly had support just under that consolidation area. And then people start to buy back in. You could have got in 0.18, 0.17 or lower, 0.15. And now we're heading back towards the highs of 0.3. I do think that we've seen a lot of these change hands, and most are in diamond-handed positions now. Let's hop into the rest of the market. Some news, some things I wanted to talk about and highlight. Blast. I'm going to keep screaming about it. You can call me, like, I might just change my name to Blast Boy or something like that, because it literally is consuming every other waking moment of my day when I'm not doing venture stuff. Blast is going to, again, be a narrative that doesn't go away. It's going to only intensify, and you're probably going to start to see more people doing content about, like, here's the top 5 on Blast, here's what I'm looking at, here's the bull case for Blast. It's going to just keep going. It's going to flywheel and snowball. The number one thing that I'm looking at on Blast, from like just an entertainment and enjoyment perspective, has been Fantasy Top. I've really enjoyed this one. If you haven't checked this out, go to fantasy.top. You can get in with a referral code. You can use mine or Dylan's or Mooncats or any of the other people that are talking about this. It's just Hunter RL, one word. It's literally what's in the bottom right of your screen. I've got a ton of them left, so go check it out. It's super interesting purely because I loved friend tech from like the social, like expecting, like hoping people would get more social. I hated the manipulation side of it. But I always thought it was cool to basically see what was happening as you like competed against people socially and who could have like the best engagement. I know when last cycle was happening, me and Trovo had our own little like kind of tournament against each other to see who could get more impressions, who could get more retweets, who could get more followers that week. And this is just letting everybody essentially do that same thing, where you can build a pack of cards of people that are on the timeline, and you get rewarded if they perform well socially. So my pack is CL, Yano, Olympio, Thread Guy, and Alex. And then you can basically get all these cards as they perform well within the tournament. They then earn points. I believe if you go to the marketplace, you can see how everybody is trading based on their social engagement and their rarity. And then, like I said, this is only going to increase as more people see this as a way to almost gamify socials. And it's just funny. Like it's yeah, it's a funny one. I've really enjoyed it. I've gotten some humor out of it. There's nothing like pulling a Gainsey and absolutely flooring it just because it's Gainsey. And it is interesting to see how some people are performing and how well some people do have reach. I think also just from like a perspective like of a social tool, regardless of whether you not want to use it, go use the referral code and just you can check and see who is gaining the most social reach. And you'll actually probably find, like, I found a few people on here that I wasn't following that I was very curious, like, oh, why are they, how much reach do they have? What are they talking about? And it has actually allowed me to find some alpha just from like the top like 30 people and see what they were talking about. Go check it out. Referral code, just use HunterRel, all one word. And yeah, let me know what you think. I'm very curious. We got to get a HunterRel card in there ASAP. Okay. Other news. We got NFT Paris starting today, and you're going to want to watch the timeline. And I've talked about this. What we've seen historically in the past has been companies going to these conferences, and if you see them spending a lot of money, if you see them making a big deal about going, it's going to be important to watch what they are doing and watch their, like, just turn their notifications on. It's very simple. Just turn the notifications on, check out what they're doing, because they're probably going to announce something. They're not going to spend $100,000 to fly the whole team to Paris, do a whole show, create all this buzz, and then be like, sick, we did an activation. They're going to announce something. We're also right at the beginning of the bull, so attention and what they've been working on the last 12 months is something. It's coming out here. This is the moment. I don't think it's going to be NFT Denver as much. We definitely will see some activations and announcements there, but I think NFT Paris is kind of like that kick, the starter gun for the bull market as far as conferences and gatherings go. NFT Denver next week, and then we have NFT New York City just following that, I believe in April. That will be kind of like the doctor's checkup, in my opinion. It's that checkup. Like you had something started, you got to go back to the doctor and get it checked. That's what NFT NYC is. Everybody's gonna be checking in a little bit deeper into the bull market. People building, the people that you shilled coins at NFT Paris and NFT Denver, you see them for a second time and they're pissed off at you because their bags went to zero and you rug them. That's more of how I see each of these IRL events. Notably, Nate Alex is in Paris. We're waiting on more about the Natives project that he's dropping. In my opinion, the other big one you should be watching is 9DCC from G Money, his fashion brand. Expecting huge display of what they've been building for their from their clothing line that they're launching. This is their big first launch. I'm also expecting a lot. And the reason I bought yesterday and added another rec guy to the collection. Well, I had a rec guy, sold it, then I got another. So now I got another rec guy, which is purely because I think rec guy is going to make some massive announcements this week. They've hinted at it. They've said there's more coming. And I love to, the number one thing for me is I love to support people who are actually building and are pushing the boundaries and are just absolutely going hard at it. And I recognize that OSF and Mando with Canary Labs are working their asses off. They're doing things that we haven't seen before. They're pushing the boundaries. And I think they're good for the space. So regardless of what happens there in announcements, I want to support. But from an investment standpoint, I am expecting announcements this week, probably tomorrow or Saturday. Nothing today. But keep an eye on that. My notifications are on for it. There's some other companies going. Rug Radio might make some announcements. Could see some stuff from Doodles. Not expect anything from Pudgy. If there's a company that is going and you are expecting like a big event from them, and we don't know about it, drop it in the chat. Tag me. Let me know. Would love to look into it. Also, just another highlight, which I thought was worth noting because it fucking pisses me off, is MetaMask sucks. MetaMask is absolutely terrible right now. And I still use it for some things because it's just easier, and it not everybody builds in Rainbow. And so it's just a little bit easier. There's less glitches sometimes with it, but their new design is terrible. I'm not going to show it. but it's terrible. And I think the wallet market is still far up for grabs. I think Raby and Rainbow are dominating as wallets. I do think that you are going to see more on the M&A side of things. We have companies like Raby who have integrated in gas efficiency saving stuff, as well as security notifications. Rainbow's done the same thing and been pretty good about it. But I do think we'll probably start to see companies like GasHawk who are doing things incredibly well on the efficiency saving side. Even though they aren't baked into a wallet, you can use them with any wallet. And that RPC has been pretty efficient and offers some pretty unique solutions. And I think we'll start to see more cross-chain wallets, more features start to come out. Obviously, Portal has talked about their wallet, so another wallet into the mix. I'm at the point where I have like 18 different Google profiles because I don't like having all the wallets on one profile because they don't play nice with each other. It's getting crazy at this point, but I think we are going to start to see this cycle, the death and emergence of certain wallets as winners and losers, and probably not see a MetaMask token. I'm just going to put that out there because we're probably not going to see it. On on more emergence news and good things pushing forward, Garga came out and said that he was stepping as CEO. The previous CEO stepping out. Goodbye. No more corporate BS. Hopefully. And I talked about this earlier in the show, which is I really hope that with the return of Garga, we start to see the OG vibes and the OG way that they were operating. I believe Yuga sent a cease and desist to another marketplace this morning for allowing a CryptoPunks collection on another chain to be used. Did not like to see that. It just seems like they've gotten very corporate. Like you can't use a name of any of their assets. They don't do as much announcements. They treat things like, they're a publicly traded company. Will announce, these press releases. I miss like the OG days of things just being super, super, super unpolished and kind of just throwing things to the wind and the vibes being good. Might not have been the best business practices per se, but the vibes were immaculate. And I think ultimately that helped their bottom line of holders were happy, more people wanted to be involved, the floors were going up, it gave them more opportunity, and they were able to launch things with less of judgment, and people are just happy for things to be coming out. So I'm not going to read all this. This is one of those hey, good for you or bad. I'm not reading all that shit. The long kind of end of the tale here is they're coming back. They want to basically bring Bored Ape Yacht Club back to where we were, and they are excited to be back. However, they talked about the MMO that they were building, and that sent players and people and holders into a frenzy because they were like, oh my God, they're not building an MMO. Yuga has come out, Garga has come out and basically said, no, we are building the game still, but there's still a lot of speculation around, are they building the right game? Have they pivoted? Why aren't they working with other companies like Nifty Island, which we will talk about, I believe. I think I pulled up that. And if they are putting all of this emphasis on the game again, which they are, it shouldn't be a question, what are they doing to execute that correctly, bring the most value to holders, and position themselves to be globally a used game that funnels value back into the ecosystem? We'll talk about a little bit of that in a second here. I do want to highlight this tweet from Legendary, who, again, if you're not following, and anybody that I've pulled up a tweet from, I hope that you do take a second and check them out because there's a reason that they are, I'm following them. But on that note, basically Nifty Island, like I just said, built what Yuga is trying to achieve, which is an incredible metaverse interaction, incredible game mechanics. And it just seems like there are things out there that Yuga could partner with. But again, when you've taken tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars from top companies, like Animoca and Google and Samsung and, A16Z, their portfolio companies, the things that they're building with, and how those different portfolio companies interact with each other is usually going to be pushed on you to some extent. As a company, you've taken on quite a bit of investor demand for them to kind of sway your direction and have influence over your company. So note there. The other founder who's become a new CEO, or I guess reacclaiming CEO stewardship, is none other than Frank DeGods. They were second founder becomes CEO, announces that D Labs and Dust Labs are now a single company. This is interesting. I do think that Frank is doing everything that he can to bring stability and also bring some new features and utility to their holders. I would keep an eye here purely because I think Frank has really buttoned up the direction of where things are going and picked a vision and is still now executing on it. And every single move that we see from him is something getting us closer to that vision. Keep an eye on it. Again, I try not to tell you guys to go buy things, but it does help to go do research and note that there are people actively doing things to improve their collections, holder sentiment, and also achieve the goals that they've set. Man, it's been a long morning. I'm looking at my coffee. I haven't finished everything. I feel like I'm stuttering. Not the best show, but again, thank you everybody for joining in. I know we got a few people on X and a few people on YouTube. The YouTube comments must not be working anymore, but thank you for everybody on X who's been commenting. I love it. Highlighting again, we're going to talk about this every day as well on top of Blast until, there's no reason to talk about it anymore, which is Bitcoin inflows again, coming in more net than out, or more in than out for a net positive. We did see numbers diminish again for the second day in a row, losing some steam on the buying side. However, that's still led by Grayscale on the sell side, the only one selling, and BlackRock and Fidelity being the number one buyers. Like I said, while this number has retracted, we're still seeing inflows be positive. We're still seeing the companies that are buying talk more about this publicly. We have seen some FUD. The European Central Bank was talking FUD on Twitter. Go check that out. If you search the European Central Bank on Twitter today, they basically called out Bitcoin and called it a scam, and said that it's never going to exist, apparently, in the future and shouldn't be used, and a whole bunch of other crap. It's just cope at this point. But I am expecting all these companies here who have not been really buying. Like Franklin only bought the first day, which is hilarious to me. But all these companies do have plans, and as they haven't been buying up and creating these huge positions, I do expect for, again, a lot of the snowball effect of, oh shit, we got to get on this. Everybody's, built these incredible solutions to sell to their customers, and they have these incredible bags. We should probably do the same thing. Again, fees. Got to keep an eye on that. I wanted to close out today's show on this topic of art blocks and loans. The number one thing that I've noticed, and it's been a narrative here, is the sell pressure on art blocks OG floors because of loans. And we've seen a lot of them basically hit the LTV of 100 plus over the last 2 weeks pretty significantly as that sell pressure increases. As we filter this by maturity, it's clear that a lot of these were made 10 months ago, a year ago, 6 months ago. They weren't very recent. Even the recent ones though, if the LTV of that was pretty significant and wasn't a low original take, then they are underwater as well. But we are seeing not only squiggles get eaten into this, but construction tokens as well as Genesis by DCA. And now this has made the buying opportunity for OG art blocks incredibly. Like if you are somebody who was like, oh my God, I always wanted a Genesis, I always wanted a construction token and a squiggle and create that original 3 set. Now is the time to go throw out some bids. And I'm kind of like doing myself a disservice here by talking about this because I haven't placed my bids. But like Genesis by DCA, I would love to have one of these. It's an OG art blocks piece. There's only 512 of them. I think they have incredible history within the generative art narrative for being one of the original 3 from art blocks. And I think they look cool regardless of what you think. My opinion is all that matters here because it's my show. But you could throw out a bid for 0.5 and they might get taken. We've seen bids pushing the 1 ETH floor. And as people are kind of just like getting out of this, and we do have some whale holders that have started to sell a little bit, but the floor is approaching 1. You could throw out a 1 ETH bid, could get caught up. This same thing is happening on Squiggles. We'll pull that up real quick. 6.41 ETH floor. More sell pressure. Again, loans, FUD, people trying to rotate. Like, it's not good. It's not a good time to have been a long-term holder for any of these assets. However, on USDC, I do think you're pretty even on the Squiggles. There was a tweet that came out proving that they've been pretty stable. But on construction tokens as well, let me pull up if I can spell the word construction. They are sitting at a 2.5 ETH floor. And as we know, when we pull up activity, these weren't always at a 2.5 floor. They've been trending downwards. Actually, I think these have been a little bit more stable as well. Oh man, OpenSea's also shit in the bed here on their analytics side. Blur is the only one that's worked well today. But again, there's more selling pressure happening on the original art block side. As you can see, about a year ago, things peaked. We did have a floor, an average sale price all the way up to 10, 12, and then we've pulled significantly back. So if you're looking for consolidation areas, if you're looking for where the FUD is, I wanted to just highlight that to you because there are good buying opportunities. And where the attention isn't, or where the buying demand isn't, and if you think that old narratives will come back, you think old collections will continue to be interested for OG collectors, and what were OG collectors buying last cycle that they might want to rotate back into or add to their bag, this, at least from my theories and how I'm operating within this market, is one that I definitely have my sites and I have alerts and I have a plan for as far as acquiring more. I'm going to get done with this blast video and get that out today. Like I said, if you haven't, make sure you have the fantasy.top company added to your list of companies to join on Blast. You can use my Hunter Orel referral code. Doesn't really do anything for me. I think it gives me like 250 points or something, but I'd love to see everybody in there. And especially I'd love to see a Hunter Orel trading card. That'd be kind of funny. Because I know you would all absolutely floor it and let me know that you drew it and you sold it for nothing. Thanks everybody again for joining in today. Great show. It's been a good solid week. I think tomorrow I've got some big plans for what we're gonna do, and some unique information. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining in, and have a great day. Peace, everybody.